the mirror reflection. I want to share with you the 3 phases of the mirror, of the illusion, of what everybody talks about, of the reflection that everyone as you pushed out, that everything you see is only reflecting your internal state of being. But what I noticed that is a lot of people have been misinformed. A lot of people misunderstand what that mirror is and what to actually do with it. And I've noticed exactly where a lot of people get stuck and trapped. And they actually get trapped there for what could be days, weeks, and years even, because they're still doing one of these 3 things. And by the end of this video, I want you all to have a clear understanding of what the mirror actually is, and how to focus on what it is that you actually want, instead of getting stuck and trapped with this idea of everyone as you pushed out in the mirror, analogies, and the reflection. Okay, so real quick, a lot of you asked me about the Money is Free, and that was a live event. And what I've done is, it was so good. It was just so good that I had to put that into a course that any of you can buy whenever you want to, and it's available on my website now. You can go to rosielife.com under courses, and if you're interested, it is an 8-part course. You're going to be listening to me for about 2.5 hours of content, and I broke it up into 8 lessons so it doesn't become too much. And you can go back to certain sections whenever you want to, but I had a blast re-recording that, and it was just so good. And I intend that all of you that do use it, and that you have exactly what you're looking for. So now you don't have to buy it, because I have a ton of content on here for free. You guys, I put more content on YouTube than I do even in creating. I don't even have a lot of things I sell. So even now, I'm about to release this week my new coaching program, and it's called At the Top, Live Beyond Logic, and it's going to be solely focused on business owners and entrepreneurs. And because that is my passion, that is who I love working with, and because I am an entrepreneur, and I have been for quite some time now, and so I know what it takes. In the physical realm and in the spiritual realm. I've done it all. I've tried it from every angle. And I have to tell you that it's a lot easier than we think it is. And it's not so much hustle and grind. Like, all my friends and family are like, what do you do? Like, do you work? I'm like, well, define work. They're like, oh, like, no, don't ask her, because she's gonna get you to think, and I don't want to think. And I'm like, well, then don't ask me questions like that. Because I just can't help it. If like people ask me, I'm just like, okay. If it's somebody on the elevator, I'm like, yeah, I work. What do you do? Yeah, I'm a coach. Oh, cool. I keep it simple. I know how to do both, right? But when my family and friends start getting nosy, that's when I'm like, your line of questioning is going to come with my line of questioning, okay? But anyway, let's get back to the video, right? The mirror, right? We've all heard about the mirror reflection. It's not new. Every freaking teacher alive, new and old, I don't even know who the first person to come up with it was. Maybe it was Buddha, I don't know, right? But anyway, we've all seen drawings of people in the mirror, and understanding that the mirror, right? This is mirror, right? That the mirror is you, and that whatever you're doing in the mirror, whatever you're doing out here, the mirror's gonna show it back to you. It has to reflect it back to you, right? Notice a little person has no expression on its face, and neither does the mirror, right? However, if I smile in front of the mirror, then the mirror, at first, it doesn't smile back, because it's kind of stuck on the last thing I was doing, which was no expression, right? But then I go smile in front of the mirror, and then what? Then I notice, oh, then the mirror smiles back at me, right? So But that's cute and all. But I noticed 3 phases with this mirror analogy that people go through. Because what is the mirror symbolize? The mirror symbolizes only one thing. It symbolizes a reflection. That's it. The mirror does nothing more than reflect. It reflects what? What does it reflect, you guys? Who knows? Who knows the answer? The mirror reflects what? Who I am being. Or another word that I like to use is my vibe, right? The mirror is only reflection and only reflecting who I'm being, right? Being is like your vibe. Like, what's your vibe? Has anybody walked into a room and everybody's like, read the room. Read the room, be quiet. Stop talking so loud, read the room, right? Because there's a vibe. You walk in with a certain vibe and then you walk in and everybody's like quiet or whatever. And they're like, shut up, like read the room, man, right? So it's like that. It's like you're reading the room, but you're reading your room. You're reading your vibe. So the universe is reading your vibe, who you're being. It's the message that you're sending out. It's what you're emitting. It's what you're shining from you, the inside of you. So that's all the mirror is. The mirror is the universe. The mirror is the universe. It's 3D. It's the reflection. It's all of that, okay? So we understand that the mirror, 3D, your life, your physical life, everything happening in your life right now, that's the mirror. That's what the mirror is, okay? But here's what happens. We start learning about the laws of the universe, and we start learning about manifesting and that we can have whatever we want and yada yada, right? And then we get all excited, right? And then you start affirming, and then you start like visualizing and using different techniques that feel good or whatever, okay? And then something happens. You're like inside feeling amazing, and you're like, yeah, I know I got this, right? And then something in your life, the mirror, happens, and you're like, what the hell? You're just like, what's that? Why is that happening, right? Why is that happening? Because remember, how did you start before you started learning about the laws of the universe and you started becoming aware of who you really are, right? You're just like, you have been up until that point conditioned to look out and blame and point and think everything is outside of you, everything's separate from you, that you're not responsible for it, that you're not what's causing anything, you're not the source of anything, right? And then you're told, no, you're the source of everything, you're the cause of everything, everything's reflecting you. Everything? Yes, everything. But here's what happened. But what about that? Why is that bug crawling on the floor? But what about that plant? Why is the plant growing that way? What part of me? And here's the second phase of people. This is where I have seen a lot of clients, and in the comments too. I read your comments. I read your comments, right? This is the infamous question that I hear. This is where a lot of you are stuck. What part of me did that? What part of me made the plant grow that size? What part of me made that cause the plant to grow that way? What part of me caused the sun to set at this time of day? What part of me made that person roll their eyes at me? What part of me caused this? And you know what I always ask? Here's what I want you to ask you. Why do you want to know? I'm glad that you're putting the awareness on you. You're taking accountability. You're taking responsibility that it is all you, okay? But you're asking from a way with an intention. The intention is not just being aware that everything is me, all is mind, all is me, and I get to change what the mirror is reflecting back to me, right? It's not coming from that understanding. What I hear people doing is they're asking, I want to know what part of me did that, what caused that, so that I can what? What's your answer? So that what? So that you can go fix it. Because you're afraid of doing it again. And if you figure out what you thought, then you can reverse engineer it. You can flip it and you can change it, and then you can fix it that way. But here's what I don't like about this question. I like the awareness part, that you understand that everything's coming from you, but that's not enough for you guys. You guys go down rabbit holes like little ants and build communities and little underground rages of in little parties of, what part of me did this? I don't know what part of you did this. Oh, what part of me did this? You guys are having like cocktail hours underground asking this question by the million. And you're wanting to know. And when I ask every one of my clients this question, I say, well, why do you want to know what part of you did it? Why? And they say, because I want to fix it, because I don't want to think like that anymore, because I want to choose something different, because I don't want that to happen anymore. I don't want to experience that anymore. I want to know how to do it. I want to see the correlation of how I thought that and how that happened. And I said, cool. I said, remember, your awareness is priceless. It's precious. And whatever you're putting your awareness and your attention on this very second right now, right? You're manifesting. That's your experience that you continue to lay out for yourself. So, but go ahead, go on with your question. So in other words, most every single time they say, because I want to fix it. I don't want to do it again. Where does that line of thinking come from? I want to change that. I want to fix it. I don't want that to happen again to me. That kind of questioning comes from these two things. I'm sure more too, not just these two things, right? But comes from self-improvement, right? Feeling that you need to improve the way you think, improve yourself as a person so that you don't have those shitty relationships anymore. You want to self-improve yourself somehow. Or it comes from fear. Fear of what? Fear that if you don't fix it, that you won't get what you want, right? So then you go down constant, you guys are like little ants like this, underground, making little tunnels, constantly going down with your questions, looking for, what part of me did that? Well, I want to know what part of me did that, because everything's a mirror, right? I actually had this video is inspired from one of my sessions from one of my program members, right? So shout out to you. And because she wanted me to do a video on this, and I said, I'll do it. That's a great idea, because a lot of people have this misunderstanding of what the mirror is and what to do with it. We all know it reflects. Duh, we all know that, okay? So first we have the first layer of the hell. Why is the mirror doing that? Why is it? I wasn't thinking that. It's almost like this, I don't want to be responsible for what I'm looking at. That's not my fault. No, that's not me. I'm not doing that. And then you'll hear, yeah, it's all you. And then well, what? Well, what part of me did it? Well, what part? So where's the sweet spot with you in the mirror? I'm going to give it to you right now. I'm gonna raise the board up here in a second, and you're gonna look at all three options, and I want you to immediately, as fast as you can, tell yourself which one do I want to now focus on for the rest of my life. The third one is, what do I actually want? I see this effed up situation. I see something I don't like, whatever it is, money, health, wealth, love, whatever, right? I see a situation, I'm experiencing a situation I don't want. But what it is, what do I actually want then? So which one do you think is going to get you there faster? Do you think by pointing the finger and say, what the hell? That's not what I was focused on. That's not what I want. That's not what I said I wanted. Why is that happening? Why is that there? The second layer is, what part of me created that so I can go fix it? And I can spend the next 30 days, 3 weeks, 20 hours, 3 years, 30 years on fixing it. But notice that this not giving you what you want. This is not going to give you what you want, but this will. Why? Because now, knowing that my awareness is precious, my attention is the most priceless thing that I have. Who am I giving my attention to? What am I giving my attention to? What do I actually want? I hope you guys are actually getting this, that the mirror is nothing more than to show you. It is what it is. It's showing you what you are. But is that what you want? No. But what do you actually want? Do you see what a waste of time it is to go down rabbit holes? You're all, well, I want to know for self-experience and expression and to there's karmic lessons and spiritual lessons that I need to learn. And no, you don't. You've been taught that. You don't have, there's no lesson for you to learn. There's nothing you got to heal from. There's nothing you got to figure out why you got there, what you did, what got you there to begin with. You don't got to do none of that. Focus on what you want, because focusing on what you want is going to the top. When you go to the top, yeah, baby, you start at the top. We don't start at the bottom. I want all of you guys to have it in your head every time you watch my videos, that every time you watch a video, you remember, like, no, we start at the top. We don't go to the bottom and dig ourselves out of a hole and then climb a ladder and then look for an escalator and ask people for directions on how do we get there. No, we start at the top. Well, what do I want? Because the mirror is just showing me what is, what was floating around in my head, okay? That's it. I don't got to figure it out. I don't got to analyze it. I don't got to fix it, help it. I don't got to pull over to the side of the road and feed something. Just get to the point. What do you want? So here's what I wanted to also mention, okay? If I had, you guys are gonna like this. So I want all of you to bust out your notebook, because if you're watching my channel, I want you guys having a notebook, because if you guys are just scrolling through another video, it's not going to sink in. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to sink in. Because when you write something down, and this is something that I learned when I was a professor, right? And as a student too, that when you write something down or draw a picture, and in other words, you take what you heard and you wrote it down. And if you want to do it in the comment section here, you can. That way other people can learn from you and with you too. Everybody loves that, by the way. If you like that, comment that in below, that you appreciate when others put their light bulb moments down or their takeaways from the video. If you appreciate that other people do that, instead of just sitting here watching, I want you to comment that down and tell how much you appreciate that other people do that as well. And then I want you to do it too. Don't just come up here and take. I want you guys to give. Giving is receiving. Get into that flow of giving is receiving. Okay, so in your notebook, on a piece of paper, I want you guys to do this. And it might look a little different for some of you because your lifestyles are different. But for a lot of you, this is going to be very similar, okay? So I used to do this as when I was a shrink, right? This is one of the things. It was something like this. It wasn't exactly like this, right? But I would ask people like the circle is your day, right? It's 24 hours. So this is hobbies, reading, still, like being still. This is working, my writing, working, wellness, watching TV, watching social media, and eating, hobbies. Okay, how much of the day do you spend doing each of these? Well, a lot of people would say, like, if this is center point, a lot of people would say, oh, well, a big chunk of my day is working. Okay, that's working, right? But you're always going to have other time, right? Even if you only have an hour after work where you go to sleep, right? And you can add sleep as well, right? How much of your time do you spend being still and reading something that it actually could help you, right? To deepen your awareness. If you're not going to sign up for coaching, that's cool, and you don't have to. But now, like, actually just created my At the Top Live Beyond Logic. That's my new coaching program where I'm going to be working with business owners and entrepreneurs, implementing this kind of information into your business, because I've been doing this already for quite a few clients, and it is helping them a lot grow their business and working less too. And I love it. But anyway, so how much of the stillness and reading, and what I'm talking about reading is beyond logic reading, not self-improvement, right? Not reading just novels, right? But how much are you actually inserting? How much nutrition, how much spiritual nutrition, let's say, are you consuming? And how much stillness are you practicing? If I were to ask a lot of you guys squeeze in like this much time for both of these things, and here, this is how much. And a big chunk is on social media, then there's eating, and then maybe your hobbies, and then your wellness and TV, and then sleep, right? How much time are you building to be self-aware, be still, being quiet, meditating, whatever, compared to all the other stuff that you're doing? I'm not saying cut all that out. I'm just saying, if you were to do this and write a wheel and say, this is how much time of the day that I use this, doesn't matter what day of the week, right? You're gonna notice that if you're consuming YouTube, I'm not talking about, that's social media. Watching YouTube videos is not being still. It's not digesting something for yourself without anyone outside of you. I'm talking about you, solo dolo, without any external, right? Because when you read, you're reading to yourself. You're consuming it within. You're digesting. You and source are reading that together, right? And when you're still, it's just you're practicing being the observer. You're practicing being who you really are. All these other things are external. You're doing, you're sleeping, doing, working, doing, wellness, like, gym and stuff. It's doing, watching TV, social media, eating, hobbies, it's all doing. This involves being. So how much are you being compared to how much are you doing? So why does that matter when it comes to the mirror? How does that help you with the mirror? It helps you tremendously, because the more aware that you are of who you are and of yourself, right? You start seeing that these kind of questions make no sense. I already know I'm aware. It's all me. I don't have to go down all these little ant holes to figure it out, because when I get to the bottom, I'm just going to find myself. It's going to be like me laying there going, it's just me. You asked all those questions just to find out that it was still you. You're only going to find you. You're only going to run into yourself every single time. So we can just jump that and get to the point of, what do I want? What do I want? Because when I understand what the mirror actually is, then why am I asking all these questions? It's all me. All I have to do is ask myself, what do I want? And then am I giving it to myself? Am I thinking that way? Am I being that person? Or do I keep turning around and saying that I'm not that person and I'm looking for evidence that I'm that person? Do you see? So the mirror is just a reflection of who you're being. And you don't know who you're being if your nose is caught up in all this other stuff all day long, because you're more distracted with what everybody else is being and doing than you are aware of who you're being. It's fun to, don't get me wrong, it's fun to look at TikToks and all that stuff, but sometimes you got to slow yourself down and say, why am I giving my attention and energy to these people? I can be giving it to myself by being still. I can be giving all that energy and attention to myself and doing a facial, painting my toenails, going for a walk, whatever, hugging a tree. I don't know what the hell you guys do, right? Whatever you like doing, right? But you can literally be giving yourself all that energy and attention instead of giving it away to other people. They'll gladly take it, including YouTube people. They'll gladly take your awareness and attention. They love it, right? They'll take it. But the more that you put your attention on others and other things, you're not putting it on yourself. And if that's uncomfortable, good, I'm glad. That means you're actually onto something. If you're uncomfortable just sitting with yourself in silence, or being with your own thoughts, or being with yourself, and that makes you sad and lonely, blah, 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 good. It's a good place to start. A good place to start. Because you want to feel those things and stop buying into the lies behind those feelings. You're not the thoughts and feelings. So you want to go and look at your mirror and you're like, well, if I'm sick and tired of this mirror showing me that I'm broke, or that I'm alone, or that of where I live, or my jalopy little car, or whatever, if I'm tired of the mirror, I have to change what I'm thinking here. I have to change it, because the mirror can't show me something else. It can't show me anything, right? And that's why Paul said, I die daily, meaning you have to change. Your mind is the first thing that has to change. And Albert Einstein says something like, he said, you cannot solve a problem with the same mind that created it. So in other words, all of the scripture and Einstein, they're all saying the similar things, right? That it's the change in mind that has to stop. So these habits, right, can support you in any way you want. You can say, you know what if this is going to actually help me to focus on what I want? I don't need to do that. I can just decide I'm the person, right? But if you're struggling to see things change in your reality, you're like, well, since I can't solve a problem with the same mind that created it, so I have to have a change of mind and a change of heart, right? Because the heart and mind are one, right? So what can I do differently? Because the mirror can't show me anything that I'm not. So that's a really good place to be. And when you don't know what the hell's going on, and it looks like nothing is going right, or you don't have answers, or you don't know what to do next, or you don't know what you want, that's a wonderful place to be. That's very exciting, because you're at the precipice of all possibilities. You're standing at the center of all possibilities for yourself. You have the potential to go in any direction when you don't know and you're confused, or it looks foggy. A lot of people have been talking about the fog all over the country, and I thought it was just I think it's kind of like cool, because it's almost like the fog that people are under right now. They're clouded, right? Like the veil that's over people's eyes, because when the fog clears up, like it's that clarity that we have. So look at it that way. Like when you feel like nothing's going your way, or things didn't go your way, or you feel like nothing's happening, no, don't be misinformed with that. Don't think because nothing's changed, that nothing looks like it's moving, that everything's not the way that you want it to be. Don't you dare for 1 second that that's a bad place. You're in the middle. You're in the center point of anything happening and changing in an instant. So that's why you want to keep your eyes on your desire and ask yourself, I'm not going to get distracted with trying to figure out why nothing's changing. Why does this person say that? Why does my bank account look like this? And I have a deadline and this manager, whatever, right? You're like, what do I actually want to be happening right now? Because that's all that matters. this moment, what I'm thinking about right now is all that matters, because that mirror is only going to keep showing me my old story, the old stuff that I was telling myself. So there's no sense in me digging out and trying to figure something out. That doesn't help me right now. That just puts my focus on the problem and puts my attention, my awareness on fixing a problem. I don't have to fix it. I just got to choose what I want. I got to decide who I'm being, and then get still and get quiet and put all my attention and energy on myself, not on others. Why am I giving my attention and energy to others? I want to put that all on myself. So I want all of you to be a little bit more greedy with your energy and give it to yourself, because if you're still thirsting, you're still looking and searching outside of you, all of that energy it could be put on you, and putting that faith in yourself, faith in your higher self, right? So anyway, there you go. There's the mirror in 3 different phases, and you get to decide which one you are in at any moment of time.